Jess Rosman is a writer and preschool teacher. Nettie Lodge is a writer and illustrator of children's books. Let's hear about their collaboration to engage kids with healthy eating and combat the obesity epidemic. Please welcome Jess and Nettie to the stage.
Hi, I'm Jess.
And I'm Nettie.
I'd like to start by reading a letter that I posted to First Lady Michelle Obama exactly 8 months ago. Dear Michelle, I live in Australia where over 60% of the population is either overweight or obese. That's more than 14 million people. Obesity and its associated disorders pose a major risk to Australian society. As a preschool teacher, I can see the direct effect processed snacks and sugary drinks have on children, and this has made me very passionate about promoting innovative ways of making the healthiest food, fruit and vegetables, appealing to young children. I'm going to stop there because it's a very long letter, and because what you probably really want to know is, did she write back? Yes. The answer is no. But she is a busy lady. My point to all of this is, when you're on a mission, you don't stop. You never stop. Not until you get your message out to the world. And that is why I'm here today with renowned artist and illustrator Nettie Lodge to tell you about our global goal for children and how we've used our collective talents to inspire them to see healthy food in a whole new way. We know that you guys know the grim reality of a bad diet and the importance of healthy eating. Obesity is now considered the #1 health issue facing the developed world. In 2007, 1/4 of all Australian children, or at least 600,000 kids aged 5 to 17, were either overweight or obese. Globally, there are more than 1 billion overweight adults, and at least 400 million of these are obese. If weight gain continues at current levels, by 2025, close to 80% of all Australian adults and 1/3 of all children will be overweight or obese. Today, by the time the average child in a developed country turns 8 years old, they've had more sugar in their lives than the average person did in their entire lifetime just 1 century ago. And to break it down even further for you guys, a study conducted in 2005 by the Pennsylvania State University revealed that children aged 4 to 5 were on average consuming 17 teaspoons of added sugar a day. But it's the kids that need convincing. We believe that in order to do that, we need to enter their world. So this is what we did. Inspired by different colours, flavours and textures of fruit and veggies, I created a series of food characters that I wanted children to be able to make themselves. There was Tomato Santa, the Rainbow Fruit Serpent, the Capsicum Boat with his little bean sailor, the Cucumber Frog, the Watermelon Cupcake, Seaweed Whiskers, the Grape Necklace, the little bean baby in her avocado pram, the Capsicum Ham Puppet, and the Juicy Sweet Pineapple Crocodile. I then wrote stories about these characters, bringing them to life from a child's point of view. I wanted them to speak solely to the child, making them accessible and hopefully tantalising to their imagination. I wanted to take children on an adventure where the fruit and veggies became the heroes of the stories. But I couldn't have done that without the help of Nettie Lodge.
A year ago, Jess presented me with a series of her poem stories and asked me to illustrate them. She didn't have a publisher, she didn't have any funding, but what she did have was an abundance of enthusiasm and a really great idea. And I thought the stories were so edgy and so funny that I couldn't resist them. As a book illustrator, I've been involved in children's literature for many years, but I'd never seen anything quite like this. I'd never seen an approach like this before to healthy eating. So Jess threw down the gauntlet and challenged me to come up with illustrations that were as fresh and as original as the stories themselves. For me, it was the words that drove the pictures. Words like this: Daddy, he would get an axe, and Mum would find a stick. But me, I'd grab my knife and fork, as that would do the trick. Before that snake had time to move, I stabbed him with my knife, with my fork. Sorry. I stabbed him in his head. Before that snake had time to move, I pounced fast as the wind. I stabbed my fork into his head. That yummy snake was pinned. I love my rainbow snake. He tastes delicious and so sweet. And here is the recipe for that slippery, slidey treat. This project had evolved from exploring various ways to initiate healthy eating habits to a kind of symbiosis between words and pictures that just seemed to bounce off each other and create an exciting new approach to introducing fruit and veggies to kids. I wanted to interpret the stories playfully. I wanted to create a visual context of a world where children could play in behind the backs of adults. I wanted to create the stories, the children in the stories, I wanted to be seen as individuals by other kids, not as stereotypes. This project is really an irreverent look at how kids treat food, how they play with food, how they have fun with food, how they make fun of food, while at the same time the underlying and subconscious message is to eat well and to eat properly. The healthy eating industry is saturated with cliches of good intentions. And I wanted to create characters that would allow children to play out their food fantasies in the spirit in which the stories were written. So I created characters such as the frog girl, who finds a cucumber frog in her cupboard and plays with it, or the tomato Santa, who in his little capsicum sleigh goes and takes his presents to the tiny baby beans sleeping in the fridge, or the girl that finds in her kitchen an entire safari park of fruit animals, or the tiny bean sailor who circumnavigates the sink in his capsicum boat with his lettuce sail. So these, the most powerful part of realising this project for me was the collaboration between many talented people, but in particular the collaboration between Jess and I. I think when you have an affiliation with someone in whatever capacity and it leads to a creative working opportunity, you need to grab it. It's like gold. It makes your work sing. And I think together Jess and I have ignited something special that perhaps we can take to the world. Thanks.
It's not over. Like Nettie said, there is a great joy in collaborating creatively, where ideas are nourished and shared openly without involving ego. Momentum builds and a project finds its voice. The next stage in our project was to gauge the reaction of children. As the character of Big Jess, I started doing demonstrations in preschools. I set up a program which involves a story, a game, and a recipe using the books. Before I show you a response to one of my sessions, I want to tell you why I believe schools and preschools allow for such a valuable learning opportunity, especially when it comes to making healthy food fun. It really comes down to 3 big words. Excitement is contagious. That's it. It's that simple. Excitement is that magic ingredient that will, over time, change children's preconceived ideas about fruit and vegetables. And that is why, for my preschool lessons, I dress up in this ridiculously over-the-top hat. I play my funny food games with them and I read my funny food stories because excitement has like a domino effect on children. I saw this excitement when I ran my own program at a preschool for over 3 years, and that's why I wrote the books. I wanted to ignite that same excitement in teachers, parents, and children everywhere. So now I'm going to show you a short edit of a response to the watermelon cupcake session to show you what I mean.
I've got a terrible headache today. You know why? Something's growing from my head. What is it? What's growing from my head? Grapes? Oh, that's silly. What else is growing? There's something else there, isn't there? Hair? From my head? No.
Yeah.
How do we find out what we're going to
In
make?
the hat.
Really? In my hat? That's
Yeah.
such a silly place to put it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What's this? Oh my goodness. Watermelon. Delicious. Watermelon. And what's this? I ate his head and shoulders next, and then his big fat tongue. I even ate his funny clothes and little melon bum. Did his bottom get eaten?
Yeah. Arms were made out of carrots. Yeah.
Really? Very good.
Yeah.
You think this little boy would be shining after eating the watermelon?
Yeah.
So when you guys make your watermelon cupcakes today, you're going to
Guys, tell me, what did you like about Kindy Kitchen today?
Cupcake. All the parts.
Harry, what is your favourite bit?
The yogurt.
We've now taken it further, and together with the charity organisation, the Healthy Kids Association, we're in the process of distributing our books to over 800 schools in New South Wales. That's roughly 500,000 children. Hopefully 500,000 is just the beginning. If Michelle gets back to me, it might be many more. Thank you.